Mr. Humble Hippie here in the state of Jefferson. Probably can't tell how clear-cut this all is right now. You're pretty much looking at hundreds of miles in every direction of barren lands. And yeah, we have some brush. And this is just basic brush. This has all been clear-cut out. As an example, you see that mountain would be big trees like this. And what happened was the federal government paid the ranchers to poison the trees with DDT and whatever the Forest Service uses right this minute for aerial dispersant over all the trees. The government clear-cut these areas, not lumber communities, but the government actually paid to have these areas clear-cut, not clear-cut, to have them mowed down and poisoned so they could uproot it, so they could sell the property for cattle or whatever American dream issue that they have. It's pretty sad. And so when you see barren areas like this, and you see cows and different things, and you just assume that that must just be the way, God created the world, or whatever your belief system is of nature, the actual science and geography is a different reality. And what the reality is what you see, all these trees. All of these trees. These weren't planted, these are normal. Well, actually, some of them are probably invasive due to the fact that they have cut down most of the trees. But you got oak and you got pines and different types of trees. You see trees? Yeah, that's because it's normal. They're barren land? No, that's not normal. What you see out there? No, that's not normal. And that's all turning into desert land right now. And the reason why is because you see how thick the woods are, you see how thick trees could be, and this is still totally clear cut, and these are like only so many years old trees. These are all basically bushes. Even though you see trees, trust me, these are bushes. Real trees are 30 to 100, 300 feet tall by 5 to 20 feet wide. And if you don't believe me, you come hang out with me and I will show you what real trees look like. And what we are looking at is barren land, otherwise known as high desert, but it's man-made high desert. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, that I don't believe most people realize. When they see land like this, cattle country, and you just think literally the term cattle country, yeah, that's because it's all barren, and so that's where cows are. It's the opposite. This is where trees were. This is where huge forests used to be. As you can see, the trees. You can still see trees out there. See, the 90% of what you see is green are just bushes, though. There's not really any trees left. It's all been clear cut. It's gone. All the trees are gone. These are only so many years old, and these are invasive trees. A lot of them are just new beginner trees. The cedars and whatever big oaks and big old growths that were out here have been long gone, and the trunks themselves, the stumps have been removed. They've actually been ground down, poisoned out, burned out, and dug out. Yes, because it provides more of a area for the cattle to walk, and they don't want them tripping over the roots. And also the government decided, the U.S. Army of Engineers, they're the smart ones. They're the ones that destroy all our waterways and dam up all the creeks and, just destroy the environment in general. They are the ones that decided to uproot and burn down and take out all the trees along our waterways, which then created these barren desert wastelands, because then the water wasn't able to be retained, which is what grass and root structures do. And as trees and bushes grow along the sides of rivers and waterways, they shade the water, which then, as you can see, the shade allows the water to stay instead of evaporate quickly. And so people are trying to sell their land for anything for free out here because it's so barren and destroyed by the government. And they had the I could be wrong, but I think there used to be a house right there. Wow, I think the house is gone. There was a whole house just right here. I am not even exaggerating, the house is gone. And I can see why, because like I said, it's all clear cut, and apparently everyone who lives out here is on methamphetamines and turning in anybody who farms, and all the marijuana growers are on drugs or gang related or whatever. And so the city officials and people out here are all redneck, white supremacist ranchers that destroy the environment. Believe me, that's just a fact. You can ask any biologist or ecologist, what a cow does to the ground. It's not environmentally friendly. It just shits and pisses everywhere and eats and drinks like 500 gallons a day. So there's no math in the world that says a cow is, productive in any sense. So sorry, that's just fantasy. And I think there's a million different formulas that show the value of so many square feet of land or dirt and water, and how many gallons of water and what you could do for all that versus what a cow can provide. And the values of cows, it's a good old boy type of thing, because you see, the industries and the government work together, and so cattle ranchers are allowed to just have their cows out here and is to eat the public property. Even though they do pay a fee to do it, it still allows the ranchers to just literally not have to take care of their animals. Whereas my dog is in my car right now, a rancher would just not even see their animals for months on end. They have no idea where their animals are. They're in somebody's yard destroying stuff. They would care less. They have no responsibility whatsoever for those animals. Anyway, so I just thought I would share that bit of information, that all of these mountains and all cattle ranch areas and all barren areas that you find and see where there's cattle and bushes and mountains like this, it's because the government paid ranchers to poison the old growth trees in World War II time, in the 50s and until now. And the U.S. Forest Service, for the record, you can call them up right now and ask them, the aerial dispersant poison over the United States forest. And then the heat, is barren. It turns the any bushes that are alive that used to be the understory canopy under the trees, it kills them. And so then people just basically clear cut everything, and you have nothing but these mountains and mountains and mountains of barrenness. And so again, for the record, remember, it's because there's that house. It's because the U.S. government and ranchers and cattle people are bad for the environment. They're bad stewards of the land. It's a bad business, and I don't really care about the meat is murder or whether you're vegan or vegetarian or what your political belief system is. It's just a non-winnable argument if you want to argue with me the value of your ranch versus the value of a marijuana field. Which I will state for the record, real quick comparisons. And I could be wrong on 500 gallons a day of water. I mean, that sounds like just so much, it's unbelievable. So I don't really know how much a 2,000 pound cow, for instance, the average cow is about 2,000 pounds. And again, don't quote me, okay, maybe they're only 1,000 pounds, but they're literally the bigger than my car. And so, let's say they only drink 100 gallons a day. Well, I mean, Jesus. Anyway, it's just unconceivable that there's a comparison. A marijuana plant could produce 5 pounds of marijuana. 5 pounds of marijuana at $1,000 a pound. That's $5,000. So $5,000 to $10,000 in 4 months. I don't know how long it takes to birth a cow. I don't know how long it takes for them to get to size to sell to be worth $5,000 to $10,000, and I'm pretty sure a 2,000 pound cow is probably worth $5,000 to $10,000 in meat. So I'm not saying that they don't have a lot of value, and the fact that, again, that you get to just go graze them, you know, for free doesn't, you know, save you money on costs. But I really think it's just an outdated business practice that's no longer viable, and that's the point I'm trying to make, is that ranching is no longer viable. There's water droughts, and there's land you know, issues, and these things were businesses in the past when there was no consideration for other people, and we didn't have to have laws or rules, and we had race issues. You know, like we do right now, where, like I said, you know, the government, the federal government in this particular county in the state of Jefferson used to pay people $5 for the head of an indigenous person, of the Kim2 peoples. The indigenous people of the state of Jefferson were massacred and genocided by the Bureau of Land Management, and the federal government and the U.S. Treasury Department paid $5 per decapitated skull. Excuse me, head, not skull, not dried out, I mean fresh, you know, has to have hair on it and stuff, you know, and eyeballs and all that. Got to prove that it's, you know, the right type of human. Well, I mean, humanoid? I'm pretty sure legally they were humanoids, which is subhuman. According to President Obama, you know, black people and all these subhuman categories that I personally, Mr. Humboldt Hippie, do not believe in. I'm just quoting the federal government, and these are the subcategories that they've created for ethnics, okay, which are lower class people, okay, like myself. Mr. Humboldt Hippie is a ethnic. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not German. I'm not Russian. I don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. Just saying. Not Israeli. So I guess I'm one of the others. And anyone who's ever filled out government paperwork realizes that if you're Syrian, you don't exist. You're just one of the others under that so-called ethnic group, unless you want to claim a particular Alaskan or indigenous tribe. Then they will give you a little bit of respect. But nevertheless,